I've had one too many bad experiences.
I know what bad experiences you're talking about. I've had similar bad experiences. I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
dating in general is a bad
That's
experience.
true.
Hello, clowns.
I'm Ummi.
I'm Yu Chen, and we're the hosts of Clown Vibes Podcast.
We're just two best friends who get together to laugh and discuss a variety of topics.
From all things pop culture to navigating through adulthood as Asian Americans and more, with our very own clown spin, of course.
We're so glad to have you here to clown around with us, and we really hope you enjoy the episode. Hello, clowns. How's it going? Yuch, how are you feeling this morning? Oh.
Phoebe
Phoebe's
is
unhappy.
unhappy. I don't know if the mic caught that. She thought you were asking her how she was doing.
I woke up this morning to a bunch of DMs from my friends sending me Selena's post about Haley telling her fans to stop attacking her.
The fact that because I thought Selena was taking a social media break. So the fact that she had to
she's
go
back
on.
No, she's been back.
She's like all of us. She's like all of us saying we want to go on a social media break, but back immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that via our Clown Vibes TikTok. Plug here to follow our Clown Vibes TikTok. It's a little unhinged over there.
It's very
We're
unhinged.
testing a lot of TikTok strategies, but definitely your post was what broke the news for me.
Yeah, I truly rolled out of bed onto the couch because it was too dark in my room, and I filmed it, and then I got ready and took Phoebe out to pee.
The fact that anyone is sending death threats over this topic is
crazy.
We have too much.
Scary.
We have too much time on our hands, or people are mentally unwell to actually send death threats around such a silly topic, or really ever.
Yeah. I think internet culture has made trolling just so easy. And have you seen some of those celeb posts that are basically someone trolls them, says something really mean, and the celebrity comments and it's I'm really sorry you feel that way or whatever, just says something kind of nice back, and the person's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I didn't know you read this stuff. And it's
people
are you
dumb? Just keyboard warriors. Yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what we talk about in our coworker episodes.
Yeah.
People just don't know, they just want to throw their feelings out into the interwebs, and they don't really understand the impact it has on the actual person. I don't know. Remember I made that video or on my personal account about Taylor Swift and how I don't want to hear me on at the air. So
valid.
That's just my opinion. And this guy literally stitched and was like, people are way too comfortable on this app. And I'm just like, I mean, yeah, it's an app for whatever. So of course I'm going to feel free to say my opinion on it.
You didn't even say I hate her, I'll harm her in any way. You're just hey, don't like this song. But clearly you like her if you paid to go see her. You're entitled to not like
a song.
Yeah, one of 300 songs. She's not gonna have 300 hits that you personally like.
Someone was the top liked comment was, or we could have fun. And someone was like, yeah, people just apparently don't like to have fun. And I was like, actually true, I don't like to have fun. Thank you for calling that out.
The stretch from you saying you don't want to hear me to you not liking fun is crazy. Good for them for making that. I would never have thought, oh, you don't like me? Okay, you don't like to have fun.
Well, speaking about fun, I think our main topic today is really fun. It's really fun. It's honestly kind of traumatic because we're living through it.
Yes.
But it's all about the different dating cultures that kind of exist in our own personal space. And what I mean by this is we've both grown up in Texas, which just exposes us to Southern dating culture, which I feel could just be an entire episode in itself, but we'll briefly talk about it today. And then us being Asian American, you being Indian American, me being Chinese American, just brings a whole lot of baggage into like dating culture as well. And
Yeah.
honestly, like if you're not exposed to this, like it just could be really weird to you, like hearing about this for the first time. I remember telling Nico like casually that, oh yeah, back in like second grade when we had our like fake little boyfriends or girlfriends. I mean, I never had one because I was
Yeah,
Asian, but
yeah.
our white friends did. And he heard that and he was like, what are you talking about? Like, this is the weirdest thing. I was like, like the little boyfriends and girlfriend. And he's like, we never had that. Might have just been like a Southern thing. Did you have one or did your friends have one?
I did not, but my friends did. I would have been murdered if I came home and was like, I have a boyfriend. My parents would be like, we don't know what that means. You're 10. Like, why aren't you studying?
Our friends probably also didn't know what that meant at the time,
Yeah.
to be honest.
But the fact that it was like a fun thing so early on is pretty interesting.
Okay, so on to our first area of Southern dating. I mean, what are like some of the things that you thought were normal, but then maybe as you got older or you just moved out of your hometown, you realize like this is just not normal?
I think the biggest thing for me is just like, I thought having a high school sweetheart that you marry was extremely normal. A bunch of my friends' parents like met in high school. It was a really like just norm thing. And so I just thought, I'm gonna marry my high school boyfriend. Like, this is it for me, I guess.
Thank God we didn't marry our high school boyfriends. Although at the time in the relationship, I thought I would. I mean, we all thought
Yeah.
we would.
I mean, you're never gonna like be in a relationship where you don't think there's like a future. I mean, maybe when you're that young, you could, but
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't so prevalent. I feel like it puts a lot of pressure on you when you're 16. You should just be
Yeah.
chilling, have fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting because I think about the person I was, and I am like a fully different person. And I know you kind of grow together,
Yeah.
but you have to be really in sync to make that work.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
My best friend from high school is with her high school sweetheart, who
Same.
we were all in like the tennis team together. And I actually grew up with him. Like I knew him from like second grade. But they were long distance for college, which I think
Literally
really
same.
tests.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the long distance in college is actually very key because I know a lot
Yeah.
of like successful high school sweethearts who are still together because they were long distance, and like that forces you to grow and forces you to like be a person outside of your
Yeah.
relationship, which I think is very important during your college time. And ultimately, if you decide like the person that you are after college or maybe during college is like still the person that wants to be with who that person becomes, like
Yeah.
more power to you.
Exactly. And it teaches you really good communication. Like
Yeah.
you have to communicate well in order to make it work.
Yeah. One of my friends from New York, she was basically long distance for so long, like during college and even after for
Uh-huh.
a few years. And they finally moved in together in New York. And it was like a lot of work to get them in the same location. And then his job took him outside of New York. So they're back in long
Uh,
distance. I know, I
that's
feel bad for
tough.
them. But
Yeah.
they've been tested so many times that it's like, that makes sense that they're high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
But the fact that like high school sweetheart is kind of like a thing that people aspire to be, like it's
Mm-hmm.
so applauded in a way that it's just
Yeah.
weird to me.
It's very weird because it's not a good or bad thing. It's just like a thing. And applauding that when you're young, like seeing people applaud it is a lot. And I think it changes your perspective, like when you're in the situation versus like how you would be thinking if like this wasn't a thing.
Another really common thing like that we started noticing in college, we both went to UT, is that everyone just becomes engaged to maybe their college sweetheart or the person that they've been dating seriously, which is different. Like you're much more of an adult, you're much more mature during your college time.
Yeah.
But what I find really weird is like different universities have
I was just about to
very
bring that up.
different cultures around that too.
Yeah.
It's less common in UT, but even like different schools within UT, like different majors, will have a higher rate of people being engaged.
And like when we say a lot of different universities have different like norms around this, if you went to A&M, it's like pretty common for you to get engaged like your last year. They say it's like ring by spring or something like that.
I think they need to like get rid of that because it puts pressure on probably the guy to propose when he's honestly not feeling ready.
You're literally 21 or 22. Like, what the hell?
Oh my gosh, child bride.
Yeah, and you feel pressure during school to like find someone. And then, I'm not saying that you're settling, but you could be because there's this like norm to have a ring by spring.
I don't know if you get these TikToks, but sometimes I get these like interview TikToks of people who went to BYU.
Oh, yes, all the time.
And they're like, how long were you guys dating before you got engaged? Max, maybe a year. Max.
Yeah. Sometimes, like when I see ones that are less than 2 months, I just have to turn TikTok off for a while because I'm like, this is too much. I am learning this information against my will at all times.
And then, like, one thing that's kind of related to Southern dating is just, a lot of people that we grew up with in like suburban Texas do end up choosing a path in the military. And with that, I feel like just comes a lot of fast engagements as well, even outside of like the high school time. Even if you like decide to date someone who is in the military, I feel like things just move really fast in those timelines.
It's because you have no benefits unless you're married, and that promotes the culture.
That should not be a reason to get married.
Yeah. Did you watch that like Purple Hearts movie that came out, I want to say like last summer, where they really like romanticize the idea of she basically marries this guy in the military because she can't afford health insurance, and they have this like scam marriage, but then end up falling in love, even though they're extremely different. Like she's very liberal and he's very conservative. It just plays into
every. Is this a Lifetime show?
No, it's on Netflix.
I don't think it's something that I would ever watch, but thank you for summarizing that for me.
It's 100% something I'm watching.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, and then something like very similar to fast timelines and even like marrying for reasons other than love. I feel like arranged marriages in Indian culture also kind of follows very similar expectations in a way. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I don't fully disagree. I don't fully agree. I think the sped up timeline is more like everyone else has vetted these people, and idea around arranged marriage is more like this is a person that we know is good and like would be a good match, and you think is a good match, and you grow to love them rather than it being a marriage based on like you loving them. And arranged marriages are actually very successful because you have to figure out how to make it work. There's no out. And I think a big con in current dating culture is you can just willy-nilly be like, oh, I didn't like this, I'm done with it.
But do you think like one or the other is the better way to move forward? Because the way that you described it is you do have to make it work, but then what if you really can't make it work?
Yeah. No, there are definitely situations where I'm like, this shouldn't have happened. I think nothing is perfect, but in a lot of cases, it does work out. I don't know. I don't love the idea, but I think modern quote unquote arranged marriages are more just like matchmaking rather
Mm-hmm.
than forcing you into things.
Yeah, I actually hate the word matchmaking because it sounds
Mhm.
like we need help or we
Yeah, yeah,
need
yeah, yeah,
outside
yeah.
help. And it's more just like your friends setting you up,
Exactly.
which people like say, oh, look, my mom found a cute guy and got his like DMs for me. Like it's the same thing.
It's exactly the same thing. It's really just like, hey, we know like a family friend and he's cool. Like, do you want to talk to him? It's like, maybe, maybe not, like, whatever. It's literally the same as your friend saying, oh, hey, I know this person.
So I know dating is always a hot topic in your household. What, but only for the girl,
Only for me.
never
Yeah.
for the boys. What are some of like the weird dating norms that you're exposed to that are just would be weird to someone who didn't grow up Indian American?
I don't know if it's like dating norms, but like the conversation around dating and like getting married is goes from you being told like you should be studying, like focus on your career. And then at some point your family just kind of flips switch
Yeah,
and is
it's
like
so jarring.
so jarring. It's immediately like, why are you not married? Like, why have you not found someone yet? And they all of a sudden just don't care that you have a job or like that you studied hard. And it goes from basically never talk to a single male to, hey, why don't you have someone you can marry tomorrow?
Because I was studying like you told me to.
Yeah. And it's not as easy as like my mom basically was given like five choices that and like five people that she met. And out of them, my dad was like the least offensible. So she just went with him. And it's not like that anymore.
Well, I don't think I have ever had five choices at the same time. So that sounds actually really nice to me.
I'm like, okay, well then find me five choices. Like,
Yeah, I think I have not seen your mom find you five choices yet, so she needs to step
yeah,
on it.
yeah, exactly.
It's usually just
Yeah.
like one guy, but like you want to be able to compare them.
Yeah. And I think because of the whole like arranged marriage situation, their focus really is like on compatibility and they really preach like you don't need to be attracted to them, like looks fade. And it's like, yeah, but I have to initially be attracted to them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's never like when they immediately make me annoyed, like I'll have nothing to hold on to.
Oh no. Yeah. My parents also have that perception too of
Yeah.
like looks. Their whole thing is like looks isn't everything. Yeah, sure, looks
Agreed.
isn't everything, but
Totally.
you have
Yeah.
to at least minimum be attracted to them.
Yeah. And you know how we always talk about how like earlier stages of our life we can become attracted to people
Yeah.
and like that has happened, but that's through repeatedly seeing them like building a friendship that then turns into something to where you can grow that attraction. But right now, it's like I'm getting sent pictures on Hinge and like dating apps and whatever. And it's immediately like yes or no. There's no time to grow into that attraction.
Yeah, we call it for those who aren't really following, we call it the classroom effect. And essentially it's
Mm-hmm.
like the people that we've like been in high school with or have been in years of classes with, maybe we develop a crush on them in the last year out of like 10 years that we've known them. But
Yeah,
that's because we know their personality, we know their family, and you do very similar to how your mom has like grown to care for your dad
exactly.
after years. It's like
Yeah,
there is a time element to that where maybe attraction is not such a deciding factor, but in modern society where everything in our life, not even just dating, but like our attention span is just so small these days.
Yeah.
Like attraction is very important. And that's why Tinder was initially like so successful. It was purely based on attraction.
Yeah, totally. Like there are people that I know very well that if I probably saw a picture of them right now, I wouldn't say like I'm really attracted to them, but I am now because I know them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What are some like other things that are like very common in modern dating and Indian American cultures? Like, do you guys have specific apps? Are there like
We
meetups?
we do have a lot is a lot is not the right word. We have two that I know of apps called Bill Mill and Mirchi. And what's really different about Indian apps is they're not focused on proximity. Indian dating culture on these apps is really like you can be from anywhere to basically expand your pool because obviously there's not going to be as many like concentrated Indian Americans around you. And so it's a lot more common to match with someone, in a different state. You talk for a while, they'll come visit you or something like that. Actually, like one of my friends met someone on Mirchi and has been talking to him nonstop for about a month and a half, and he's coming to visit in a couple of weeks. So I'm excited to see how it
Fun.
goes. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Raya, the app for like
Oh,
celebrities or
celebs.
celebrities
Yeah.
Jasons are also like that, which I think should be the way to go for
Yeah.
all dating apps. If you're okay with distance, which people are.
Yeah.
And apps like Bumble, I think, make you pay extra for that, which I don't think you should do that.
Yeah. And I think expanding your pool makes it to where it's more about kind of forces it to be more about personality first than like hookup culture, basically.
I'm curious because I feel like Indian American cultures are so much more focused on religion than maybe what
Yeah.
like East Asian culture is centered around. How has that like influenced dating in general?
Yeah. Like I think most people around our age are not really religious anymore, but our parents are still
Mm-hmm.
religious and still hold a lot of like value in finding someone of your same religion. And it does kind of like influence you in the back of your mind. You're like, will my parents accept this? I know a ton of situations where they're from different religions, their parents really like fought against it. It causes a lot of discord in your relationship and it makes
Mm-hmm.
it 20 times harder. One of my cousins married outside of our religion, like she's like a distant cousin, so I don't fully know like the whole situation, but for a while it was very tense feeling from me, very outsider. It just causes unnecessary friction, unfortunately, but it is what it is right now.
It's like a family affair. It's
It's a
not
family
just
affair.
the two people involved. It's always like two families and their extended families that's involved.
I think like we're very family oriented. Like I am pretty close to my parents. If whoever I am dating does not get along with them, it would cause issues for me. Like I wouldn't like it. I am very close to a lot of my extended family. If they wouldn't get along, I wouldn't like it. So I think just because me personally, I'm so connected to my family, it is always in the back of my mind. Okay, tell me some Chinese American dating differences that you've seen.
I feel like there's like just the same pressure. I think what you described about like you can't have a boyfriend. I remember
Yeah.
when I had like a boyfriend in middle school and my dad got so mad at me and I was just like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
I mean, looking back, he was probably right,
Yeah.
but I really wanted one at the time, so who cares? I mean, it
Yeah.
all worked
Yeah.
out. But like the switch between no boyfriend to like who's your boyfriend now? I
Yeah.
don't really have that issue with my parents because they take a back seat on a lot of that still. Probably because I would bite their head off if they made it such a big thing. So they really like let me drive it. I think my dad is more curious than my mom is. He's like obsessed with having grandkids. My mom is more just like, yeah, whatever works, which is great.
Love that. Yeah.
But I also think it's because like you said, in your culture, like family is such a big aspect of it. I just feel like in my specific case, and maybe Chinese culture in general, we're not so as family focused. Our families are much smaller. Also, my immediate family is the only like nuclear family in the US right now. Like everyone else is back in East Asia.
Yeah.
So we're just separated from that. I think also being born during the one child policy kind of also affects it because all my cousins are just like the only child. And so there's just like less family members in the family.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think because we're like so less community driven, that it does give us more opportunity to date outside of like different ethnicities and different religion, which I find that really nice.
Yeah.
At least the options are larger in a way.
Yeah, I think it's freeing. I feel like I have the options, but I'm like always wary about it just because I'm not sure how it's going to play out with my family.
I think language is definitely something that I am conscious of. Even though like my Chinese, I'm not fluent whatsoever. Like
you're good
I'm
at
still
it.
able to have like conversations with people. And because like my mom's English isn't amazing, like I would want my future husband or whatever to be able to like at least have basic communication with my parents. And so that's just like the main thing that I'm like very conscious of. I will say I haven't like seriously dated an Asian guy in like a really long time, I guess ever. I want to say it's not because I'm like not attracted to them or I'm not opposed to them. It's like two factors. One is my quote unquote first boyfriend was Asian, and that just traumatized me.
Oh my.
I feel like whoever traumatizes you just like does not allow you to like want to date that same ethnicity ever again.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he didn't traumatize me in the way that like he did something. He was just such a troll. He was such a troll in like high school and even in college, to the point where I'm just like, this is just really annoying. And in your mind, you're just like, all his friends like that are Asian? And kind of there is like a big trolling mentality, I think, in Chinese boy culture, which is just disgusting in a way.
Yeah.
And also, you know, my daddy issues have really shied me away from dating Asian men, which I think is like a very valid point.
Yeah, very. It's like rooted in your own personal experience, and that's fine.
Yeah, but like one thing that I think is just so weird is, I think not weird, but unique to Asians, is we're typically a lot less outrightly confident or loud in society. And so because of our personalities, and I think this just goes back to the whole trolling comment, people are more comfortable online or on the apps. And there's this like one Facebook group called Subtle Asian Dating that I just think is like kind of cute, but like also very interesting that this is such like a big thing. It stemmed from this Facebook group called Subtle Asian Traits, where people talk about their different Asian traits. And it's kind of like a funny thing. Like people are able to like relate to you. But within Subtle Asian Dating, people make these like dating profiles that they then auction off to the thousands of people in this group. And it's essentially like your friends hyping you up. Like you post like 6 photos and you give them like basically their bio stats. and you add their like Instagram handle, and it's just a thirst trap, honestly. It's people, usually men, commenting that they're like interested. And I've seen like follow-ups where like people are like, oh my gosh, my DMs like blew up. And I just think it's so funny because if like a person that like DM'd you in during an auction like met you in real life, I feel like 9 times out of 10 they would not even approach you in real life.
Yeah. There, it's obviously just more comfortable online and to speak more freely than it is in life. That's interesting. I follow that page too, but I haven't seen it. Mostly because I'm so ingrained in Girlfriend Collective Facebook group that most of my posts are about that. But
it's, I mean, it's a good and bad. Like I've seen marriages come out of that group, which is great. But it's also like it's such a public thing, right? Like people who are conventionally more attractive are getting 12,000 likes, but then like it's for everyone. So when your friends post you and like really hype you up and you get maybe like 50 likes, it's not really like
it doesn't feel good.
An ego boost. Yeah. One additional thing that I think is kind of funny is honestly, it's just like a joke at this point that there are so many Asian girl, white boy couples.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically in SF, I want to say, which is like where I live right now. And it's a joke, but it's actually real. Like I see it all the time. It's kind of a numbers game here as well.
And white boys just have more confidence again, which is why this is happening.
We grew up in like Southern culture dating, but I think like me moving to New York, you moving to Dallas, which brings up a whole other can of worms. But like we're in this era of modern dating, which is like really led to the spin off of just a lot of weird things. I think that we just take as norms, maybe more so in American culture. But one of them is like, are apps over now? Like apps really popped up, I think, in our freshman year of college. So like I feel like our college era and like post-college era was like very focused on the usage of apps. But now I think all my friends are complaining about how the apps are gross, which I've been saying that for years.
They've always been gross.
So I just feel like they're kind of out now.
I would agree. I personally am very done with them. I guess it perpetuates the culture of having a million options and never, trying to commit. I think the modern dating culture is very fleeting. I don't know if that's the right word. Like everyone's just looking for a good time, and the second things are not clicking perfectly, it's done. And the apps really lead into that.
I never felt like I had a million options on the apps.
That's true. Okay. I don't actually feel that way, but I guess like in theory, right, there's like a million people on the app. Think that. I've had one too many bad experiences.
I know what bad experiences you're talking about. I've had similar bad experiences. I think it's just dating in general is a bad experience.
True. Yes, that's fair.
And then there's this new term, situationships. How long has the word situationship been around?
Maybe a couple of years. I don't feel like it's that old.
Yeah, around 3 or 4, I would say. I saw a TikTok about this very recently that really changed my perspective. And she was basically like, there's only one person in the situationship that calls it a situationship. The other person just calls it nothing.
I saw that. It really triggered me.
It was so triggering. And like, because it's true. Like you didn't have to say it so loudly.
Yeah. Like keep it to yourself. We all knew, but didn't like give it words.
But like the fact that we've defined it. And like made it like such a thing. I'm really shocked as to like why it's such a big deal, like such a hot topic. Because this concept has been around since the dawn of time.
I think it's because in the past, like whatever, 10 years, there've become too many extra stages in dating, right?
So
It's
many
like
stages.
no one is rushing to define anything. And because there's no definition, situationship has been like created as a like catch-all.
I feel like it's created in a way to like soothe the person that doesn't think it's nothing.
Yeah.
Your point on phases is 100% correct. It's like a very murky transition. I think we just need to like get rid of the whole phases thing because like on one hand, it puts pressure on you to like time box certain phases.
Definitely.
Rather than let it progress naturally. Like I feel like I've been really bad about that too. And because like so much information has been thrown at you, like this is talking. Then you're supposed to have the exclusivity talk. Then you're supposed to make it official. And if you're not doing that, like people think it's weird, or then you're just not in an official relationship. Where first off, like back the fuck off, like my relationship. Like I think everyone has their own timeline, whatever that may be.
And they have their own like comfort around the situation. You don't need to, go by what other people are saying, like you should be doing next.
And then like just the whole concept of rosters has really made the murkiness, made the waters even more murky.
Yeah.
And like I remember talking to one of my friends and she's like, yeah, I feel like you should always have a roster. And I've just never been the type of person to date multiple guys at the same time, even like talking. I just don't have the time. I get confused. I just have other things that I'm more focused on than like talking to multiple guys at once.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have enough time in the day to be able to handle all this. I can barely handle talking to one person. Like I can't talk to multiple.
Yeah, I'm like extra stressed about it. But hearing about people who have like multiple rosters, it's such like an interesting topic. You're only not stressed about it if like there's one person in the roster that's like a front runner. Because I feel like if you have all bad eggs, it's just like, what are you doing? Like,
oh, for sure.
I would personally feel like I'm wasting my time. But if you have like a front runner, at least it's kind of like job hunting. Like you should at least have like 2 leads. In case one doesn't work out.
Yeah, I have a friend who has a roster right now, and she'll have to send everyone the same thing, just like the things that are important, just so that she doesn't forget who she's told what. And that's exhausting. Love this for her.
More power to her.
It's interesting to see from an outside in perspective.
I think the latest thing that has like really popped off in the last year or two is like soft launching versus hard launching your significant other. What are your thoughts on this?
I think people just gave it a term, but this has been a thing forever, at least social media wise.
Exactly. But I think like what's really changed is people are just making it like such a thing, like almost like such a rule.
It's like a game.
It's just like, yeah, like who cares? Like, oh, you're gonna soft launch this person. Are you trying to get me more interested in it? Yeah. Personally, I don't really care.
Yeah. I guess like it is fun if it's someone you're like very like friend of a friend of a friend, and like you see it kind of happening. You're like, oh, this is interesting. But I don't know you, so I don't really actually care. Yeah. It's like a fun game for people who are lurking, but like not a fun game otherwise.
It's fun for people who have lurkers. I know I don't. I mean, I may have like 2 or 3 lurkers, so it just like really does not matter. I saw this TikTok. I think I sent it to you, but this girl was like, this is exactly how I soft launched my boyfriend. Yeah, I watched it. You did I put 2 wine glasses to get people to wonder like, oh, why are there 2 wine glasses? If I saw that, I wouldn't. That's not what I would think.
No, I'd be like,
oh, I'd just be like, wine glasses.
Yeah.
And she's like,
I'm not counting wine glasses in people's posts.
She like showed like a video of her like on this trip, and she's like, and then there was like this arm like right at the edge of the video. I'm just like, you have to rewind that because I didn't even see it.
I didn't see it, and it could be anyone. She's like at a buffet.
Yeah. It's purely for the person that's soft launching. It's just like a fun little activity, but it just like means actually nothing to the rest of the world.
She posted like screen grabs of like people asking her, and I'm like, these are fake. No one saw the hand.
Or it's just like the two lurkers that you have. It's fine.
Or it's like your friends who like already know and are just like, LOL.
Yeah, hyping you up.
Yeah. Oh, who is this?
Like, I only feel comfortable doing that if someone asks, I would actually say, but usually like I would have like told people already, so they kind of already know.
Such a weird thing. I think like we have really spun dating and social media out of control.
Out of control, and in a way that it's like almost too educational, like how TikTok has been so like dating TikTok has been like so educational, where I almost think it's like harmful. A, it's like triggering as fuck.
Yeah.
B, it's like you're making these 30-second videos that are supposed to be like really catchy to like an audience attention, but then like you're not giving the nuances that goes into really dating.
Yeah.
And so people are like given like, oh, you should always have a roster, to like, really, it's really situational and dependent on like
the person
you are.
Yeah. The whole if he wanted to, he would is
I
fucking hate that. There's so many things I want to do that I just like really don't have the capacity to do. And like it puts pressure on everyone involved.
If you wanted to, he would. Sure. It's just a catchy phrase at the end of the day.
Totally. But like for a while, I feel like it was so prevalent. I think now TikTok is in its like, these dating videos are not good era. But for a while, it was like all just catchy phrases about things that like you should be expecting. And it's like, no, you should expect what you want. Like, come to that realization yourself.
Basically, just summarize, no one knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Truly no one.
No one knows what we're doing. It's kind of gross out there.
So gross.
Ladies, stay safe.
Thanks so much for listening. You can follow us on all social media at Clown Vibes Podcast or email us at clownvibespodcast@gmail.com.
And if you enjoy our show and want to support us, please like, subscribe, and give us a rating and review. That's it for today. Bye, clowns.